You have to click the OK. Alice.
Click OK.
Yeah.
Are we there? Go on. Okay, after some technical difficulties, I'm going to call this meeting of the Mancos School Board to order for our June 15th meeting, 2026. It's 6:07. Could we have roll call, please?
Tim Hunter,
Present.
Craig Manelli,
Here.
Rachel McWhirter,
Excused.
Craig McClure,
Present remote.
Kara Taylor. Here.
Right. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Here on a nice warm evening. I will take a motion to approve our agenda.
I move to add approval of the ESA General Assurances Form as consent agenda F.
Okay, there's a second. Any other discussion of the agenda? Call the question, please.
Tim Hunter,
Aye.
Craig Manelli,
Aye.
Craig McClure,
Aye.
Kara Taylor. Aye.
The motion passes. The agenda is set. Board recognition. We have some student celebrations to acknowledge.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge it was in the Mancos Matters this week, but I do want to acknowledge Amelie Cover, who has been named as our co-salutatorian for the graduating class of 2026. As noted in the Mancos Matters, we noted that upon last technical review weeks ago, we noted that she and our current salutatorian Martinez are in a virtual way. They should parallel each other in their academic achievements and leadership. And so we were able to celebrate her here at the district office, and I'm just glad that we were able to write that so that she should celebrate her here tonight.
It's great. It's not normal. We have two salutatories, but it was great. They were just right there
Yeah.
together.
And I found out that they've been in school together since preschool. Yeah, so they were celebrating each other.
I know the family's exceedingly happy over it.
I also want to acknowledge our summer hub started this week. They have a full program, full of students, incredible staff, lots of great things happening underway. To Katie McClure, the executive director, getting that off the ground. Jessica McIntyre, who's serving as assistant director or lead in the program, and everyone that supports them. I know you know the child in the program, you get a student perspective.
Been exhausted and he's had such a good time. Well, all been good. Yeah. Seems like it's been a great program.
I also wanted to acknowledge just the huge amount of work that Kid McClure's. Yay, all right. She has been doing amazing work. There's a heavy lift this year because they've been working to get a certain licensing credentials for this year. There was quite a big push from a few of the committee members to get this off the ground. One of which was Audrey, who helped really navigate an MOU to make sure that we were able to get our licensing. And having her family jump in to get the preschool going with their project. It was a manual labor lift, and that was awesome. So just it takes a lot to have these summer programs happen. And Katie and her crew have really gone above and beyond. So just want to make sure that we all acknowledge that.
It's great. It's a phenomenal program. And so third or fourth year.
Fourth year,
I think so. I think it's fourth year.
Craig?
Oh boy, you're asking a lot for me.
Yeah, fourth year, we'll go with that. Yeah, and I want to also add our summer facilities team, that's a part of that effort, getting things ready for you know, being able to get the spaces ready enough for summer hub, while also they've just started their work tackling all of our school buildings with summer hub, and our athletics teams are here and they're working around them. I'm doing that a little bit short staffed right now, which I'm working on, but Destry Lockhart is leading a great team and they're just got such great spirit about them, working so hard together to get as much done over the summertime while our staff is away. So they do it in some air conditioned spaces and a lot of spaces that are not. So thanks to our summer facilities.
I don't think we have any public participation at this point in time.
I had one more recognition.
Oh, great.
She's not here tonight. But she's here tonight, in 2 weeks, our amazing Chrissy Miller will be retiring. And so if you see her on the street public, make sure you give her a big high five. She's kept our district in great financial shape. Now, we've been celebrating her off and on through the last month, but I think a formal board recognition at this moment of the board meeting.
She's been a driving force and a steady anchor to our school system for years and years, and it has shown in her work. It's been amazing. She will be missed, even though us is filling up shoes.
I know about that, like, no, she does the, how much she will be missed.
No doubt that the baton has been handed off very well. But yeah, Chrissy's done an amazing job. So. All right, so now no public participation. Reports to the Board of Education. We have a District Accountability Committee report.
Yes. Let's see. Meeting began with celebrations and acknowledgements. We recognize the hard work of district staff throughout the school year and expressed appreciation for the positive direction from the district. We praised the district office ability to maintain a positive work environment and celebrated the hiring and movement of staff for this upcoming year. The primary discussion topic involved the drafting of cell phone guidelines. District leadership explained that these guidelines are connected to the student handbook and focus more on implementation and on changing board policy itself. The revised drafts include more specific expectations on how staff members will consistently enforce the rules. We're generally supportive of the direction being taken. We praise district leadership for acting quickly to address concerns surrounding student phone use and express appreciation for moving toward a high school environment that would significantly reduce phone use during the school year. Same time, we emphasize that success will depend on consistency. We discussed the importance of acknowledging that past enforcement of cell phone expectations that sometimes get inconsistent and stress the need for clear accountability and consequences moving forward. We recommended that messaging be consistent among admin, teachers, students, and families so that everyone can understand both the expectations and the reasons behind them. A member made a comment on the committee expressing his desire for the school staff to communicate clearly with students and then reassure families that those conversations have occurred when communication with parents is needed. It was also suggested to look into whether or not an open campus is age appropriate for 9th grade. If deemed not, it could be more helpful for more stricter policy for 9th grade incoming freshmen, since it's such a big transition year for them. Questions were also raised about staff cell phone use and how adult behavior can affect perceived equity when enforcing student expectations. The committee recommended that district leaders include more data, research, and rationale supporting the guidelines, explain how the new approach differs from past practices, ensuring staff members are trained and prepared to implement the guidelines. Ultimately, we, the DAC, expressed support for the proposed changes and the adoption of the new policy and guidelines. The committee encouraged the board of education to continue examining the role of technology in schools and to adopt policies that promote appropriate and effective use of those tools. We then shifted our focus to improving the DAC process itself, planning for next year. Members reflected on what worked this year and what didn't. We highlighted the structure and agenda format worked really well. Our rotating discussion topics that hit the 4 categories in our policy is really effective practice, and that we continue with that rotation every year. We also identified areas for improvement. Sarah pretty much took the role of chair, note taker, and timekeeper. So next year we'll look at dividing that labor up, so she's not doing that all herself. We would also like to see an increased parent engagement, participation in district and DAC activities. Looking ahead, committee members expressed interest in learning more about the district unified improvement plan and discussing additional concerns brought forward from parents and community members. The DAC finalized a tentative calendar for next year. Planning topics include school leadership goals, the challenges, academic outcomes and accountability, financial planning, budgeting, wellness and social emotional programming, artificial intelligence, technology use, staff retention, wellness, end of year academic review, and continued policy review. Several meetings will be open next year for us, just in case topics do come up that we want to address at that time. The meeting concluded with reflections and appreciations. Members thanked the district for providing food and childcare during the meetings. It was really helpful for parents to show up and other participants. Suggestions for improvement included staying within our 2-hour time frame and exploring virtual attendance options to make it more accessible to other people. Overall, we left the meeting encouraged by the district's progress, supportive of strong expectations around technology use, and committed to continuing collaborative conversations focused on student success and ability in open.
Great. Sounds really positive. Does anyone have any questions for Eagle about everything you talked about? That's a pretty full meeting. A lot of good stuff discussed, and glad to see you guys looking into the future and setting up the scheduling, because it's just getting better and better organized. We first realized we had to have a DAC about 12 years ago. I tried to organize a thing and we had like 4 or 5 people periodically showing up, but no real focus. This is great. We, as a board, I can say from my perspective, I appreciate the things you guys are looking at and how you're looking at it and the inputs you're giving back to us. It is meaningful.
Yeah, I would just second that, as a superintendent, having the partnership of the DAC and being able to have a forum where I can really listen to the conversation and kind of serve as that reflective group in terms of that the experiences of parents and to name our priorities. So thanks to Tigo for being incredibly consistent and point of thoughtful input, and Sarah Wright for leading that group. Lisa Martin has come on as a new community member who's also an educator. Has provided incredible perspective and feedback. Jessica Cowan, another parent, and a number of parents that have been really pretty regular participation. Just really built that team. So thank everybody. And it's always open to any parent or community member really that wants to come and be a part of the conversation.
You're up with.
Well, lots has been happening lately, thankfully. But so I'm just gonna give a quick overview of a couple of things that have been officially passed into law in this past session. And then there was also 2 things at the federal level. HR 8979 at the federal level just got introduced to effectively staff the high-need public elementary and secondary schools in the US with school-based mental health service providers. And then HR 8975 to amend the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965 to require the annual state report cards reflect the same race or the decennial census population. So, just two things to keep an eye on at the federal level. At the state level, I guess I think I mentioned this last time, the School Finance Act has been passed, made into law. Which was SB 26-023, and then SB 26-135, state public K-12 education funding. That has passed the legislature as well, but that one's going to appear as a referred measure on the November 2026 general election ballot. I know that one. The SB 26080 Cradle to Career Grant Program, I mentioned that last time, it has passed, but it has a fiscal note that it relies on gifts, grants, and donations to fund it, so that's kind of what it's looking on right now. But that's the one that improves economic mobility from poverty by connecting children and youth with educational and extracurricular opportunities and families with essential health and social services. And then SB 26-103 at-risk school program and public accountability. That's also without a fiscal note, requires school districts and charter schools to adopt and post on their websites and achieving community commitment to equitable school success policy, access policy on or before July 1st, 2027. It directs resources and support towards at-risk students. There's more details in the act about what that may include, such as partnerships with community organizations, wraparound services, after-school programs, and tutoring. And then HB 20, so that one's passed, and then HB 261050 also has passed, the optional individualized written discipline for school. So that was the one that basically makes some exceptions, or it makes it optional for schools to provide plans to students who demonstrate proficiency on specific assessment domains and the kindergarten reading assessment, so that they don't have to have that plan if they meet certain criteria essentially. So it's the best. Just kind of a highlight of what it's on last session, but
It's a long legislative session, educational issues. It did not really get us much more money into the schools, but
yeah, we'll see what.
But they're well aware, they're definitely, I think our legislators are much more aware of funding shortfalls in their responsibilities.
And if SB 26135 passes, that there's a potential for more K-12 funding, it just kind of, that's.
I encourage everyone to look at that bill.
Was that? Yeah.
I encourage everyone to look at that bill, it's gonna be on, it's gonna be on the ballot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'll say about it.
I don't think we have a BOCES report.
We don't have a
tonight.
BOCES
Rachel
report.
is
Rachel is
not
not here
here. I
tonight.
know that
Richard, you,
I don't have a BOCES report. I think that she provided in the last meeting, the updated report
right,
on their budget, and that being passed, and our partnership is strong with BOCES and continue to work closely with them. One thing, talk about is having them join this session or board meeting at the beginning of the year, so we can learn more about all the services they provide our students and the partnership that we have with them. So all is well.
okay. I'm just glad that they have their request for more money.
We're all on the same team.
Good. Business managers report.
In front of you is the uniform budget summary for approval for the 26-27 fiscal year. The only change that is presented tonight that is different to what we have over the past 2 months now is we were given more title funding for our Title 1, 2, and 4. It went from 103,000 to 118,000 in that last week. That allowed, there's been no changes in the proposed expenditures, other than we added in a transfer to our activity fund, which pays for our referees, for all of our chapter, for all of our middle school, high school athletics. we deemed it important to include that now because it is growing and not, that amount is growing. For us to transfer money to balance it out. So we did include that, that line item now, as an expense. So they were the only two fund changes between, the budgets that we have seen since April.
There, this is just maybe a type of thing. For the title, it says ABC School District.
Oh. On the, so in the yellow,
Yellow.
in the yellow.
Oh, yeah, that's a.
Okay.
Yes, we are not ABC schools. I will have to check.
I like it with things. That's right.
Yes, that is next. That is. We'll get the tax direction.
Not much change from what we were. We got a little more in detail presentation in our work session. I discussed it a bit. We have a basically balanced budget. That's what counts right now.
Yeah, a balanced budget, and we're able to maintain our programming and staffing for the next year. I think just the general knowledge that is a, as we hear brought up, is that, their funding is still limited, and that we're working to use our money strategically and focused on getting what's best for students and hopefully across the district. So we'll keep working on that, but we're excited to be able to present this budget. And a huge thank you to Alice Miller coming on just 2.5 months ago, I think, right? Has it even been
2.5 months.
2.5 months, working side by side with Chrissy Miller in this transition. And I think that is exciting to report. Just that we have such a strong transition. Was a
Strong condition and, yeah, balanced budget for next year.
Yeah.
On with the superintendent report.
Okay, yeah, I just. The superintendent report is just the strategic plan report, which I presented. I'll just create just a short synthesis of it for the public. It's there on the website for viewing, end of year strategic plan report, which really anchors in our mission vision to provide safe, rigorous, and positive learning experiences through our district goals of healthy community, engaging learning, cohesive systems. Want to just hit some of the highlights of this year and some of the results. My glasses on. Do that well. Our continued work on supporting the whole child and building a culture of support and growth. Every child, every staff member should be well supported so that they can grow at the highest levels and achieve their goals. Underneath our leadership team, really working at building proactive and restorative approaches within our discipline practices, and making sure all of our educators are trained in building those restorative practices, because those have the long range, those practices work in the long run. They make sure that students get the support they need, that they get the education they need, that they get the restoration, and so that it doesn't happen again. So those are all in place, and then the work around just cultivating a positive district climate and culture. We've got some school district community norms that we have in place. We have a lot to learn, grow from our climate survey. So thanks to our entire community for completing those, and we have a lot to learn and grow from. And some of the highlights of those are that snapshot is that we have clear rules for behaviors, that teachers treat students with respect, and that they feel like they have an adult to help if they need to. Growth areas are recognizing the behavior, really building those practices for student treating each other with respect, and increasing our love of school. For families, really strong, and teachers, that parent connection with conferences, students feeling safe, and that teachers are working hard, so students do a lot of support for our teachers. growth areas is that our communications with parents, really around a specific individual child, we can work to make that better. And that consistent reinforcement of our rules and practices. Staff as well, feeling like that they get along with other staff, they feel safe at school, and that they work hard, they feel satisfied to make sure students do well. Areas for growth is that treating all students fairly and making sure that our classroom learning environments allow for teaching. So I'm just gonna skip to some of our snapshot around our TLCCs, that we have a lot of strength in the student teachers feeling support for well-being, students feeling supported, and that our students are, all staff believe that our student behavior is strong. And that we can continue to work on our professional climate, and that's something that we set as a goal this year. We'll continue to focus on, especially building that school-wide, district-wide climate, but then also at the school. So looking forward to next year, we'll continue to build those community-centered learning environments. We are implementing a crew model to make sure that all day, that there's a structure of crew, and that we have time that we come together to learn about who we are and who we are together, and that we also build that feeling through that it's just a way of being together, that we're all part of the same crew, supporting kids, supporting one another. We're refreshing our core values and habits, and so I think we're landing on it being called the Blue Jay Way. So look for that in the fall, that our young children and all the way to our 12th graders will have some common language around our core values, and those will be embedded into the crew experience. Continuing to develop our whole child with targeted social emotional learning experiences in crew. Continuing to align our supports for students who might be struggling in feeling seen and heard, and accessing a learning environment at that tier 2-3 level, tier 2, and intervention and extensive supports. Continuing to build inclusive parent engagement. We have some things starting the year this year with beginning of year events for parents, and that's culture of support in front. So building on what we've done with some more structure and some more training around that, and resources for teachers to implement that help. For our engaging learning, really our goal this year was to really understand, for me, to understand what is our instructional approach and how do we make sure that we're building and engaging in a cohesive instructional approach. This year, we saw the mathematics curriculum being implemented at the elementary school. As a school staff, we worked on building a common understanding of challenging and student-led, so that when we go into the classroom, what does that mean for students and how do we prove that? And our focus was really outside of the classroom and developing a Mancos Schools instructional model. And then, of course, building that same cohesiveness with our leaders around what does instruction look like across the district. We implemented learning blocks in our schools. Our results are strong this year in achievement. Our district results for our NWEA MAPS test has seen high growth in our reading, mathematics at average growth, and our language usage at high growth. So those are really kind of a snapshot across the district of generally all students are growing well. Of course, we always want to dig in and find out where we're missing pockets, and we will do that when our staff get back together in the fall. And another big result is the draft of our Mancos Schools instructional model. So we have common language and definition of what should learning look like in the classroom. So we'll be developing that next year with the support of partnership with Catalyst Learning, which will be working with two individuals who come down to help us really peel away the layers of when you walk into a classroom, what should that look like? What's the Mancos way to do it? And another result is that we're expanding some of our high school course options by partnering with Colorado Digital Learning Solutions for our students who have maxed out on our options or need a slightly different pathway. They can do that while staying here. So that's a nice addition to our high school program. Looking forward, using that instructional model for reflection, planning, and observations, supported by that grant and continuing to collaborate with the PEDC. This year, we sent a lot of teachers to Phenomenal Teaching Institute up in Denver and Whitney Lang, working closely with our here with Magus Labs. Continue to align and articulate our curriculum, that our teams are doing that, so it's sequential for students, that they're not getting repetitive learning, and building student-led assessment practices. So how do we put students centered to their learning experience? Continuing a lot of different things that we've got going on with our portrait of graduate and our community work-based learning experiences. And there's a lot that we did this year. So cohesive systems, our goal this year was really around structures for input and shared leadership. And so we have things underway that have got started with that. We have the Superintendent's Advisory Council about every 6 weeks, meeting with different teachers to hear what their experience is, what's going well, where can we improve. Developing and building highly effective school leadership teams. So we'll continue to build on that. This was, the beginning year of that. And I know our school leaders are excited to continue to build those. So that at the school level teachers and educators are involved in the reflection and decision-making at the school level. Implemented a lot more surveys at the district-wide around school climate. Sure, we got a lot of feedback on that. Building our family engagement structures and really renewing the district accountability committee. And working with our leaders to make sure that our operations are mission aligned and transparent. And so I think that's important, that we've established school leadership teams and working on those becoming transparent on how those work and articulating and communicating our processes. On my plate was really developing a fair, equitable, and effective evaluation system for all staff, which I'd say we made some great strides in, but are continuing to refine. Some of the results, we talked a little bit about some of those things. I really want to again highlight the district accountability committee and to all of the families who engaged this year, either through a listening session, coming to a family night, completing a survey, putting a sticky dot somewhere when they were given the opportunity, and just stopping myself, our school leaders, or our staff when they had something to share. I want to continue that culture of feedback and open communication. So thank you to all our families for that. And our results, we have some really strong results this year around mission aligned and transparent operations, a huge celebration on passing the mill levy, and to our mill levy oversight committee that brought forth a really I don't know what the word is, but it's a salary schedule that works to resolve some of the inequities in that, bring all of our staff up to or as close as possible of market average, and it being also competitive within our local region. So just a huge shout out to that. That is huge for our teachers to start receiving, teachers and staff to start receiving paychecks that are, recognition of all that they do and getting them as close to what they should be. It's not all that we look to thank our educators and staff for. We hope that we can continue to provide them with a work environment and culture that supports them every day. Our results around communicating our budgeting and staffing processes and being more strategic in our budgeting for in the long term. Operations, I want to celebrate addressing outstanding facilities and transportation needs. A shout out to Dusty Lockhart for really getting literally under the hood and identifying projects that have been left, been kicked down the road, so that to maintain the quality of our facilities with what we do have, so that we can be really frugal in the upcoming years. Aligning our procedures and to our safety and security team, we participated in a number of trainings this year to include threat assessment, mental health, first aid, and more. A shout out to Janet Vogel, our new HR director. We've had a really successful year with our hiring processes in that we have an aligned and cohesive process that all people were getting a fair and equitable process. And that we have those, teams of teachers, staff, and educators on those hiring. So there's a lot of things, that we continue to celebrate, but there are continued growth areas in, our cohesive systems. I wanna just talk about, meeting some of those timelines. As a small district, we're always working to get out in front and ahead, so, we did miss some timelines this year that we wanna be better about hitting those, calibrating between our leaders so that our schools are experiencing that cohesive systems that we're going for. Differentiating by roles, that our professional learning is role specific and that staff feel like they're growing, getting what they need, continuing to support data collection. So looking forward, lots of continuing those structures for input and shared leadership. Really building out purposeful and responsive communication plans, internally and externally. Continuing to support collaborative teams and having frameworks for reviewing and looking at data and acting on that in a predictable cycle. And targeted professional growth and support. So that is the big meaty overview of the year of our strategic plan. So for those of you that listened to that whole thing, I appreciate you for listening in and putting on the.
That's great. Any questions for the superintendent? Strategic plan about the year in review. It's great. We're showing progress that's just above and beyond. I'm certainly impressed.
Well, it really just reflects so much work cohesively across the staff and across the district and continuing to build on that. Strong team, strong people.
Moving on, we have been under some discussion about the cell phone policy. We are going to pass a first reading of the cell phone policy tonight. Basically the only change, the real change is that cell phones will not be allowed in school except during lunch for high school students. It's basic.
Yeah, and
Change in policy.
this is a good place for me to add that we talked about it at the work session tonight. So if you want to see any of those pieces of information around the current proposed draft and some of the processes behind that we still have that open for feedback. And when our leadership team gets back in mid-July, we'll be looking at that. A lot of the question is around the operational side, on how we will support these restrictions. But yes, the main change is in the how, especially at the middle and elementary, and how and where those cell phones will live during their off times, which it has and will continue to be all day. And then at the high school level, restricting between passing periods and the AM, having them on their person at lunch. But we know that we've already read a ton of feedback from parents and staff and students, that in Make Us Matters, there are updates about that and a place to give feedback. And students can give feedback there and parents can give feedback there. So we're still looking to bring into place a practice that supports communication with families, that supports consistency, that supports the learning environment. So that really our focus can be on learning and building those social connection between students. So, yeah, that's just an addition. I realize I didn't put that note in there, in my end of year strategic plan report, but yeah, so the policy would just have small changes around the timing around high school.
And like you said, in the Make Us Matters, there is a chance for more community feedback. It's just the first reading of the policy. There's going to be review from staff. And anything that comes in from the public. And that's including students.
Yep.
As well as parents. And just to reinforce that this is all about maintaining a safe and sound learning environment while kids are in school. That's what it's all about. so that we can educate these kids best way possible. Without distractions. Controversy.
And supporting our teachers in that.
Right.
A lot of this is really about supporting our teachers, to focus on teaching.
Does anyone want to add anything around
Yeah.
the cell phone policy?
Yeah, Tim, this is Craig. I'd just like to add for anyone listening that you pointed out that passing time is considered part of our instructional time,
Yes,
which makes it much more difficult to make that a time where cell phones would be appropriate or allowed. If we're going to say not during instructional time, passing time needs to be considered. And the policy is just the backstop. The real work is in the implementation of the staff and the disciplinary procedures and everything that goes to support the policy. The policy is not the all-encompassing statement. There's a lot more work being done.
there is a lot more background that we've been discussing. And that they'll be discussing with staff.
Yeah.
How to implement this consistently and appropriately across the board.
I will also add that some of the feedback that we've received from families, we will be addressing, which is around. How can I get a hold of my child during the day if they don't have access to their cell phone? What about AI and laptop use, which is part of this policy, because it's the personal technology device. And so that is stuff that, those are items that our team will take up in the next year. I know our DAC would like to see that in their agenda as part of discussion. So we're not addressing that technology in our operations in this particular review. But we know it's important, and our staff would agree as well around making sure that we're also looking at that and coming. But name that, I'm getting some great feedback about things aside of cell phones that we will share with our leaders and staff.
Okay. Anything else on cell phones? We have a couple of resolutions that we need to acknowledge and pass. The first one is a proposed budget appropriation resolution for fiscal year 26-27. Be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Bank School District of Montezuma County that the amount shown in the following schedule be appropriated to each fund as specified in the adopted budget for the ensuing fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027. The general fund is an appropriation of $10,341,564, with a preschool fund of $470,277. Special revenue funds, food service fund of $420,293, and pupil activity fund of $315,680. We have a bond redemption fund of $1,180, and capital projects and capital reserve fund of $276,100 for a total appropriation of $12,824,094. And the appropriation per student account is $28,179. So that's a motion to accept this resolution. Is there a second to that?
Just second.
Any discussion on the appropriation resolution? Call the question, please.
Tim Hunter,
Aye.
Craig Benelli,
Aye.
Greg McClure,
Aye.
Kara Taylor. Aye.
And the resolution is passed unanimously. Next, there's
All right,
the beginning fund balance resolution.
need the beginning fund balance resolution. Let's see, whereas CRS 22-44-105 1.5 A and C states that a budget duly adopted pursuant to this article shall not provide for expenditures, interfund transfers, or reserves in excess of available revenues in beginning fund balance. Whereas the Board of Education may authorize the use of a portion of the beginning fund balance in the budget, stating the amount to be used, the purpose for which the expenditure is needed, and the district's plan to ensure that the use of the beginning fund balance will not lead to an ongoing deficit. Now therefore be it resolved in accordance with CRS 2244-105, 1.5 A and C. The Board of Education authorizes the use of a portion of the fiscal year 2026-2027 beginning fund balance for the following funds. Capital Reserve Fund in the amount of $58,000 to spend down beginning fund balance to continue the Frank Willis Ditch project. Food Service Fund in the amount of $30,000 to spend down beginning fund balance for food expenses fund in the amount to go in. That one doesn't have.
No, there's only two.
Okay, never mind. That's it. Be it further resolved, the use of this portion of the beginning fund balance for the purposes set.
Wish to accept that resolution.
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on the proposed budget beginning fund balance resolution? Call the question, please.
Tim Hunter,
Aye.
Craig Benelli.
Aye.
Craig McClure,
Aye.
Jared Taylor. Aye.
And the use of the beginning fund balance resolution is passed unanimously.
Right, capital reserve purchase requisition. I move that we adopt the following resolution according to Colorado statute 2245-103. The Board of Education authorizes a fiscal year 26 capital reserve expenditure in the amount of $829.50 to Southwest Water and Property Law LLC for legal services to transfer the water rights from Frank Ditch to the Willis Ditch, adopted this 15th day of June 2026.
Second.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Is there discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have a projection? Because we keep pulling money for this.
That's just,
Do we have a projection on how much more it's gonna go and when this stops?
On the Frank.
well, the break. Yeah.
I think that's it.
No,
No.
because we have money in the cap reserve to spend, and there's
Did I
another
lose
like
y'all?
8,000 or something, that's part of that beginning fund balance. Budget resolutions, because it's still ongoing. So we will still have more money, still have more to spend.
Is that
On that.
this year's current budget?
Yeah, this will be all in this year's current budget. Everything else from now will come out of next year's cap reserve. It has not been finalized.
Craig, hearing, I don't know if Craig's hearing that.
Is there a timeline for the resolution of this issue?
It was a little
It's
bit,
underway.
Yeah,
The timeline, I think it has. Greg, do you have a delay? I'm gonna give you a second.
yeah, I do. Okay, I do hear you.
I would have to find out the timeline.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is, okay,
Well, I will say, that it's underway from our end, but there's a number of parties involved in getting the work done. So, and it's in this year's budget. It's added.
so it's still just, you have mostly the actual physical work,
It's the actual
not
physical.
much more legal juggling of hoops.
My knowledge is no,
Okay.
for the legal is like spread out, it's the actual physical implementation of that is left. I believe it's gonna be the summer, but I would have to confirm.
Okay. Well, there's a motion, a second on the floor. Is there any
Okay.
further discussion? Greg, anything else?
None.
Okay,
I can get an answer to that. I did
okay,
the
please. Call the question, please.
Tim Hunter,
Aye.
Craig Benelli.
Aye.
Craig McClure,
Aye.
Jared Taylor.
And resolution passes, we will pay the bill.
It's the work is underway.
Right. So, okay, where are we at now? Approval of bills. So. Consent. Make a motion for a consent, which is. Covers the approval of bills. recommendations, vacation rollover, approving superintendent contract,
Did you add that? Do you want to start?
and
Do you want to, I think you missed the meeting minutes.
the meeting minutes.
Yeah, maybe start, I
Okay,
think you
yes.
slide up to the top there. You go.
Yeah, so and the additional of the item F, which is,
CSBA,
yep, the ESEA general assurance form. So I'll take a motion on the consent agenda.
Seconded.
Is that a motion?
Oh, I'll make a motion. I thought you were making a motion.
No.
I will make a motion on the consent agenda.
second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on any of the consent items, the agenda minutes, the cell phone policy?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Go ahead, Craig.
I just have a question on the expenditure line items. And it's not to hold up the vote, it's just for clarification at a later date. I read all of these. The $420 for ice for a barbecue equals at Cox 840 pounds of ice. Something doesn't feel right. So we own an ice machine. Just can we get clarification at a later date on what that really was?
Yes.
Okay. That will be looked into and you'll get an answer.
Thank you.
Anything else? I'm finished reading.
Nope.
That was the monthly bills. We have the recommendations, vacation rollover, superintendent contract. And that's it. Okay. Would you call the question, please?
Sir, Hunter,
Aye.
Craig Finelli.
Aye.
Craig McClure. Craig McClure.
Aye.
Karen
Aye.
Taylor. Aye.
Okay, and the motion carries. Okay, we've discussed calendar. Is there any other discussion about our calendar and upcoming obligations for the next month or two or three?
No, I would just say that the board will be holding a work session on August, there's no meeting in July.
Right,
The board will be holding a work session on August 3rd. Or a retreat on August 3rd in place of the work session. And the first board meeting of the 26-27 school year will be on August 17th. I got that.
but we may have a special meeting
With the possibilities of
for possibly the
special
special
meetings.
meeting for the cell phone policy, if there's changes in that. Okay. Debriefing for the board. Did anybody learn anything new tonight? I learned that we're still ongoing with the ditch issue. Which been a point of contention in my mind for a while, but it's happened, so that's being resolved.
It's just, I think it's just a work project that we,
Right.
other entities are managing.
Right. Did you feel they were able to communicate, you understood on all the topics? Are there any questions about that? And are there anything, decisions made by the board that need to be communicated to the public? I think we've made it clear what's going on. And, there is stuff in, like I say, in the Magus Matters for public comment upon the policy review. So we look forward to hearing from folks, take some time for that. And I don't believe we have anything that requires any new policy revision other than what we talked about with the phone policy. At this point in time. Anybody have any other questions? Any other discussion items? Any other things that need to be brought up for an agenda? And I'll take a motion for adjournment.
so moved.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Call the question, please.
Tim Hunter.
Aye.
Craig Finelli.
Aye.
Craig McClure.
Yes.
Aye.
Karen
Aye.
Taylor. Aye.
This meeting. Sure.